Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What Do You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the SOS Brigade of the What Do You Say Anime podcast will be reviewing the 2006 anime The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. Let's meet today's Force Clubbed members. First up, his penis is also referenced as the Endless Eight. We have Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Oh. Okay.
I told you I was going to make an Endless Eight joke.
Yo.
That's a good one, Pete. That's
Well, that's Kat.
I'm doing great.
All right, good.
Thanks.
Good to hear. Next up, he is Haruhi's #1 simp. We have Johnny. Johnny, how's it going?
Listen, bro, I would buy her DNA just so I could clone her and kill her myself.
Wow.
Jeez.
That is aggressive. Making his return to the podcast, he was willed here by Pat's god powers. We have Galaxy. Galaxy, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Ready to top out Haruhi.
Glad you're here. Our first moderator tonight, his wife gave him 15 minutes of freedom and decided to spend it talking anime. We have Miles. Miles, how's it going?
We're doing good. There's probably a 20 to 30% chance I end up dipping early, but we'll find out.
And we got Pat.
What's up, guys? How we doing today? Let's talk about Haruhi. And before we get into it, like we normally do, to be clear, we only watched the first 11 episodes in chronological order. So the end of the Murder Mystery Island arc, I would say, is the best way to describe where we watched until, because the first season is a little bit scuffed, and so are what the episodes are, like airing order versus chronological order. So yeah, that's what we watched. We watched Haruhi, the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which aired in 2006, done by Kyoto Animation. The source is a light novel as well, so I don't know. I think we're all really excited to talk about it. Miles, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So Haruhi is a place that is near and dear to my heart. And so, I wasn't sure what to expect with going into this. This wasn't the first time that I watched it, but I absolutely fell in love with it. You can see my Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya displate in the background. And if you go and watch almost any other YouTuber, you can get a discount on a displate. So I fell in love with, like, immediately the way that it just completely goes in on its tropes and embraces how anime it is, but also points out how ridiculous anime is, and just all of the stuff. The characters are wonderful. I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think it's a classic for a reason. I think it's one of the better light novel adaptations that we've seen, which is crazy because it's one of the first light novel adaptations, and people have only gotten worse at it. So, that's impressive in
What
its
about
own right.
Shield Hero, bro?
what about Shield here? You know what? You can, that's more on the light novel, I think. That I'm not going to blame the team who adapted that frickin' turtle arc. My God. You can only do so much with that junk. But Haruhi is gold, and I would definitely give it a thumb up and recommend it. So go and watch it if you haven't.
Nice. Yeah, I would. I'd agree with that. I'm very glad I watched it. Kat, what about you? What do you think?
I had a really good time with Haruhi Suzumiya. Like first impressions were that it's a really clever anime. It's this is my first time watching it, so one of the things that I thought first was that the animation really does hold up, like even today, especially compared to like anime that we've watched around the time, even anime that came out like 6 years later. A lot of them don't hold up to like to Haruhi Suzumiya, and it kind of blew me away. I can't really say too much without spoiling anything because it's really, yeah, I think it's really fun and really good. So if you think that you might like Haruhi Suzumiya and you haven't seen it, go and watch it because I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I think you make a good point that it is kind of hard to not spoil it, especially within the first 3 episodes. So it's gonna be hard to give your first impressions. But so far, 2 people, two recommendations. Johnny, what about you?
All right, so I'm gonna be as objective as I can here, considering that the first time I watched this show, which was God, like 3 or 4 years ago now. It's been a long time. But the first time I watched the show, I didn't actually know it was 2 seasons. I just saw like it was a list of all 24 episodes, which by the way, I watched in a different order than what was on Crunchyroll. So essentially, like I got very pissed off at the show because of stuff that happens later on, but I'm gonna pretend that it didn't exist because like from this point of view, we're only talking about the first 11 episodes. So from that point of view, I will say the show is actually like good. I'm still never gonna like Haruhi, but you know, it's okay. I mean, she can end the world, but you know, whatever. And the rest of the characters I actually do really like. Like I think the cast in the show, especially the main character, is very good. Apart from her, obviously. But like I don't mean it in the way that she's a bad character. It's just that I don't like her personality. Like she's well written, but like I just don't like her personally. Like
I'll take
But
that
yeah,
as
like-
a W. I'll accept
Yeah,
that.
that's a fair. I think that's a fair
That's
statement
super
too.
fair.
you know,
Yeah.
you just had a child, so you know, I'll give you some. I'll give you my respects. But I mean, this show it's a good show, and I'd recommend it. But just don't watch season 2 unless you want to watch unless you want to stare at a blank wall for I would say let's see, 20 times 8 like 200 minutes. Yeah,
I don't think that math adds
Good
up.
math,
but
yeah.
it doesn't.
Nope.
But yeah, I
Nope.
don't care about math anymore.
It's because
I graduated high school. I don't need math anymore.
816.
I don't think
No,
that's good
I'm
math
wrong
either.
too. Fuck.
No.
I'm sorry.
How are
you
you
guys
so
times
bad at
8?
math?
Are you guys just
No.
are you guys just
Yeah.
trying to do 25 times 8?
160. 160 minutes. There.
You know, you're trying to do 20 times
No.
20 times 8. So
20
you just
times
do
8, 160.
Yo,
there,
That's
we
really
did it.
hard
You
math.
Cat-
That's
it's
good.
really hard to
I
go.
thought you said 12 times.
Cat thought
eight.
20
it's-
times 8 was 816. Like, don't let that gloss over.
You just go 2 times 8 and then carry the 0 and then
Do
there you
we
go.
do we live in the world where everyone's bad at math that Pete chose to get isekai'd into in our 8 for 8 episode? Is
Yeah.
that what's
Yo,
happening?
it's all.
I thought
Yo, I
it was
willed it
12
into
times
existence. Oh my god. Am I Haruhi Suzumiya?
I thought you said 12 times
Nope.
18, but I still don't think that's right. I still don't think 816 is right. So that's on me. Yeah.
Nope, it's not even close to that number. It's like
Anyways.
120 plus. Yeah, it's probably.
It's
like,
160. Let's move on.
Yeah.
It's 8 times 102.
What is going
That's what Cat
on?
got. That's what
Did
Cat
everyone
got.
just lose all their brain cells?
No, how
No,
Cat got to
that's
his
me,
is
that's me.
102 times 8.
Okay. We're going to have to edit out 108 minutes of this conversation, but we can keep in some of it. Who is next? Who
It is.
talking about the show next?
It's Pete next.
Is
Pete,
it?
talk
Alright.
about Haruhi.
So back when I started watching anime like religiously, this was one of the first shows that I watched and I really enjoyed it, and then I got really put off by the second part of it, but luckily we're not talking about that one. Haruhi is just an absolute blast. I rewatched this in the dub, and I would recommend the dub over the sub for this show. It was just so well crafted. I loved how they're just the dynamic between the cast and everything like that. This was just like a really, really fun rewatch, and I kind of wish I could re-experience it for the first time. So if you haven't seen this, I would recommend the dub, and I would absolutely recommend the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. There we go. Got there.
Proud of you.
We're
So
so fucked.
we're so bad at this, aren't we?
Our collective
It-
IQ is 12 right now.
We've done this for what now? Almost 3 years. 3 years, more than 3 years, right? Of anime club, and
Yes.
and here we are, unable to get through first impressions without just stumbling horribly. Maybe we are in Pete's math world because he's bad at English. I guess maybe.
Horrible.
Like
Oh,
I don't know.
No. Fun
Like-
fact, they had like monkeys take like the ACT or whatever, and they just like scribble into answers. They scored higher than me in English. So I always say thank God for math, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten into college.
Maybe we're in Pete's math world because we're all bad at English. That is.
No, that's no. Well, Pete specifically is
Yeah.
bad at English, but he's really good at math. is
There we
what I
go.
was getting
The lore
So
is
yeah,
set. We got
I just
there.
ruined my joke for Miles.
He can't read
But
there.
it's okay. Good job, Johnny. All right. Preston, how do you follow this up? What have you got? Are you gonna
I
drop
have
some
no
science
clue
facts?
how to follow this up.
What are your
Uh,
first impressions though? Yeah.
Haruhi hard carries. She's incredible. Kyon is also great. And if you like people just getting dragged around by one psycho teenager, you will enjoy this show.
Fair enough. Yeah. And lastly, for me, pretty much agree with everyone else so far. I would absolutely recommend this show. I see why it is so iconic and why it was pretty much one of the first shows that really became popular outside of Japan, right? Like it was one of the first shows that I don't know, blew up. You know, I know PewDiePie has talked about it a lot, right? Like it's an OG weeb show, like a veteran show, I guess. I don't know. I'm sounding stupid as hell here, but I think I got my point across, and I think it deserves to be. This show is incredible. I really wish I started it earlier. I had always put it off because I don't know. It's a bit of a time sink. It's a big commitment. I am so glad I have, and I can't wait to continue watching it. So I would highly, highly recommend this show. And that's coming from someone who hates time travel and psychics and shit like that. And the show is great, so I'd highly recommend it. So yeah, that's 6 recommends, and now I think we'll go into our spoiler section. So there are some pretty heavy spoilers, especially outside of the first few episodes. You know, some things get revealed. I think in episode 3 or 4. So I'd at least start the show before you listen to this. But if not, you've been warned. And yeah, who's got our first talking point? Who wants to tackle this oyster? That's a sentence.
I think that's a sentence.
Tackle the oyster. That's an expression, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Scandinavian.
Is it?
So, how? So one of the main points in the show is that Haruhi is a god. Uh, so how do you think in the first 11 episodes, how did you guys think that it was done? Like, how well do you think it was done?
Well, so like I I had written a couple of pages on the show to send to Pat back when I thought I want to be doing this. Um, and I talk like a lot about this, about how I think it's done really good because the reason the entire show works is because Haruhi is God. Because otherwise, Haruhi is like I don't know, it's so tropey unless she's God. Like the writing is bad, but actually it's good because she's God. Um, because it's all about these people enabling this girl to be an anime character, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
just act on her whims and do the Baka Des slap stuff, like all of the stuff Haruhi does.
And it all works out too.
And
That's the
yeah,
thing. Like the
yeah,
fact that it all
exactly.
works out perfectly for her
Yes.
would only make sense. Like it would be just like so much plot armor unless she was literally a god, and she is, which is it's so funny. This show is so clever. I love it because it's stupid, but it's like well, you sit there and you're like, oh, well, why the hell is this random girl a god? And then they start to hint at that. They haven't revealed that at the point that we're at in the story, but they've hinted at it. You know, like uh, she had that moment where she realized how small and insignificant she is in the human race, and she hated that. And then something changed. You know, she made the prayer to the gods or whatever I forget what that holiday is, the July 7th holiday, or is it June 7th?
Hanabana or whatever it's called.
Hanabata, yeah. She made the prayer, and that's when all of these things that had to happen for her to be a god uh, uh, fall into place. And now she has the time traveling people concerned. She has the protectors of another plane of existence concerned. She has the robots monitoring this Earth for the universe concerned. Like she has all of these really ridiculous things that shouldn't exist, all watching her now in the same way that we watch her, and it's so good. It's just oh god, I love this show. I can't wait to watch more of it.
Yeah, it is wonderful. Johnny, you are not a big Haruhi fan with her antics. So
Listen, like, it's not that I hate the plot. I just hate her.
I do get that. So for you, this is like, it's like for me, do you think it's similar to how like Taiga is a bit much, even if I get
Okay,
why
no,
she
okay.
is like she is? Like, and that's
Okay,
you with Haruhi?
here's a difference. Okay, and I feel like this is gonna be more of me going in on Toradora instead of like me analyzing Haruhi. But like, Taiga doesn't act the way she does because she wants to. They make it clear that like she acts out and like hates herself because of it. Haruhi doesn't care. This is just how she wants to act. Like, she doesn't care about what other people think. She just does what she wants. She'll literally drag people to do whatever she wants them to do. You know, she'll blackmail people. She'll do more than just blackmail people. Yeah, she's God, but God did a lot of horrible things. So I guess this show is accurate. So
Yeah, I do think if we're looking at her character, it's not only that she's God, it's that she's actively enabled by 3 out of the
yeah,
4
she
other
what
main castmates.
she feels like to me is like it's like that one kid in school which like that like their parents don't care at all what they do and they just get away with literally doing anything they want.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it would be like if in Toradora, everyone saw Taiga like beating the shit out of Ryuji, and like Ami, instead of being like, Taiga, you're a petulant child, was like, keep doing it. Do it
Yeah.
more. Beat him harder. You know? Like I think that's sort of what we're exploring there. Yeah. So I don't know. Galaxy, sir, do you have any thoughts on Haruhi as a character? How her godhood plays into the plot, anything like that?
Yeah, I find it fun how Kyon always has to chase around her or after her because of just her and her god powers and having to please her. I think Itsuki, the Esper also does a great job of explaining it and what she can do.
Yeah, I definitely like that. I think that Itsuki's an interesting character to me because a lot of these light novel adaptations, as time has gone on, have dropped any other male characters, and so having another dude around was like pretty interesting. I don't know if anyone else thought that was weird, but I thought it was like a sign of the age of the show that they like bothered having a prominent male character that wasn't the main character.
Right. They still also had the side guy. Sorry, Pete. They also still had the little the best friend character that
Yeah,
was like, oh, look at it. Oh, who's the hottest girl? Like, because that's always still in shows. But then, yeah, like you said, having an actual main character, someone who's relevant to the plot, that was it was. I didn't really think about it, but that is a good point. That's like this is not normal, and it's good. It's refreshing to have a different perspective.
I was gonna say how I can kind of view Haruhi as like a good character is Miles said something, but it didn't really click with me about how they like enable her, and then that what makes the show good. Because currently airing right now is a show called Eminence in the Shadow, which has a very similar premise where the main character can kind of will his existence into reality, but like other people don't know, and the joke isn't really played well. But when you see it here, now that I compare the two, I'm like, Harley is just so much better than Eminence in the Shadows. It's like night and day. I gotta give props to like how that they wrote Haruhi and how the show just essentially wrote their characters, because it's just just so much better in comparison now that I think about it. But
Oh,
yeah, Haruhi's the goat.
can I make another Eminence in the Shadow comparison?
Yeah.
So a thing that Haruhi does that's good is the Kyon's narrative voice stays in the show like it would be in the book. Like you get that narrative, like, oh, I was doing this and I was thinking this and stuff. And like it makes sense that a lot of the shows like take that out, but for something like Haruhi, I think it's really important to know what Kyon's thinking because he is our self insert, right? Like he's the normal person, everyone else is insane in one way or the other. And so it's good to know what he's thinking because it tells us what we should be thinking. And Eminence in the Shadows, like light novels and manga, has all of this stuff where you're in Sid's mind, and he's like, I'm gonna try to do this. Like the scene where he confesses Pete,
Yep.
and she accepts. He's thinking like, if I bow at this angle, it'll seem like the most pathetic. And it's like this whole like multiple paragraph bit, and they get rid of all of the internal dialogue, and he just does the thing, and you're like, well, why did that happen? Even though the source material explains why it's, like they make a joke,
Mhm.
and the TV show doesn't. So I think Haruhi does a really good job of adapting its source material, of which I've only read one of the light novels. I read the 5th one because I wanted to see what the Endless Eight was like in the light novel, and it is like 4 pages long, which is hilarious to me. They go through one loop. It's, but yeah, I don't know. I thought that was really good.
Can I ask you a question about Keon? I want to
Yeah.
get your opinion because it's probably going to date us. Did you ever watch the show Saved by the Bell?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember the character Zach, the main character?
Let me Google the cast of Saved by the Bell so I
Okay.
can be sure that I do remember. But yes, I do.
So he has like the narrative things, but like kind of what he does is like stops the show and talks to the camera to do the
Yeah.
narrative. How would you feel if this show did that? Kind of like breaking the fourth wall with Keon.
I mean, I do like that. I sort of like that, like, and this is very 90s-y,
Yeah,
right? Like, Saved by the Bell, where it was
100%.
like, skirt, you might wonder how I got here, and it's like the record scratch and everything. I think, like, Haruhi would play really well with that. I think Haruhi, I mean, it's like, what, 2000, early 2000s? Yeah, so it has some of that 90s inspiration, but I don't think it's not like full-on 90s. But I think it would work really well as like a 90s sitcom. Like if you did like a live action,
That'd be so funny. I want
and
that so bad.
it was like, it was like Saved by the Bell, or like any of those, like Malcolm in the Middle or some shit, like one of those 90s sitcoms. I actually think that would be amazing.
I want that
I think
so bad now.
I would think of like Ned's Declassified. Like,
yeah, something like
that-
Ned's
that-
Declassified School Survival Guide, like some show like that would be amazing for like a live action, completely westernized version of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yeah.
Well, imagine just Haruhi as a live action. It could work too, because it's not like the supernatural shit that happens is not something that would be difficult to animate, or not, rather not animate, difficult to do in a live action, because like there are some shows that obviously would fail, like I don't know, so like Promare would never be the same
Yeah.
in a live action, but Haruhi, it's not like they're doing like crazy stuff or the characters' designs being not human looking is important. It's literally you could just take the whole cast and like sure they have those like a couple of those like fight scenes with the big things.
Yo,
but that can just
keep it track.
whatever.
Have them fight a giant CG cricket, even if it's a live action. Who cares?
Oh, that was so weird.
Yeah.
That was, but
Who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah, but keep
there
that
you
in the
go.
live action. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, it would exactly, and then they could play on that joke. Still, I don't know.
100%.
I'm kind of surprised because you hear about Haruhi, right? And like people, older weebs always sit there and are like, "Oh, it's really good, whatever." But how is this not like? Does the is the full series adapted? Like, so it's not
No.
right by the
No.
animation. How? How
So
is
what-
it
so
not?
what
How is
happened-
this not more popular?
So
I
when
don't
you
get
go
it.
to watch season 2, Pat, and now imagine you were watching this airing, right? You're in 2008 or whatever, and the second season is airing. Because the first thing that you have to do is watch the same episode 8 times, right? You
Mhm.
know that's what you have next. And you also know if you get bored of it, you can skip to the last episode and it's okay, right? You know all these things. You're watching the show in 2008. Season 2 is airing. Everyone's super hype. First episode comes out. Cool. Second episode comes out. It's the same. Third episode comes out. It's the same. Fourth episode comes out. It's the same. And then that happens 4 more times. So because they did that, which I think after the fact is awesome, but I didn't have to watch that. You know what I mean? Like imagine if a
Yeah,
show
but, like,
did that now. Like how crazy that would be.
Yeah, but again, it is slightly different, right? And it's so that of course we're not supposed to talk about that now because it's not part of the show. But like how I just imagine that by now that it is 2023, I can remember things. Happy New Year, everyone! By the way, in the club, like why has it not come back? Like why have they not been like, okay, finally we can continue adapting, and people aren't gonna be like, oh, I fucking hate Haruhi, other than Johnny. No one else could be like, I hate this.
I think there's
can't
a
forgive
few
them.
reasons to that.
Yeah, Galaxy had made a point earlier that I think he wants to elaborate on now.
So with the Endless Eight, and when it was actually airing, it was so poorly received in Japan that the head director had to go on Japanese television in a press conference and apologize for it.
He deserves
It
to
is
do
not
that.
a popular thing at all.
That's a very Japanese thing to have happen too, I think.
Yeah.
Like they're just a very apologetic sort of. Well, for certain things at least, they're very apologetic. Sorry.
Also,
World War
Bad
II.
joke. Yeah, World War II. I know. That was the right, that was except for like
Fine.
the war crimes they committed. That they
Yeah.
whatever.
In Galaxy, you were also talking about how the fact that the author got writer's block, right? Do you want to talk about that some?
well, I brought up briefly earlier that the writer hadn't released a volume of the light novel in over 8 years.
Wow.
Until last year he finally released one.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So maybe we'll get more. Who knows?
Well,
maybe we'll get more Haruhi soon.
And Kyoto Animation was the studio, and they got arson attacked, so that set them back years.
I guess, yeah.
I think I read key people for Haruhi died in that fire as well.
Yep.
Because season 3 was in the works for a while, it got put into production hell, and then, I think that because of the reception to the Endless Eight, they, paused it. We're probably waiting for the right time, and then everything went to hell.
And then did the movie instead.
Well, yeah, the movie was extremely well received. But we're not here to talk about that.
No, yeah, sorry, but that was just like something I'm thinking about because, like, again, I am blown away by how much fun I've had with the show so far, and I know that the Endless Eight, it probably would have pissed me off too when it was airing, but again, in hindsight, I think it sounds like something that is so funny. It has to be funny. They wouldn't do it
It's not
if it was
funny.
bad.
I had a
And
great time.
so
It's not funny.
I assume I'm gonna probably not be full Miles, but I'm also not gonna. I'm gonna probably be closer to Miles's side than Johnny's, but knowing myself at least. So I'm just so curious to see like how. And again, it's like it's not that big of a show, right? Like I mean, somehow it's lower popularity than I don't know. I only know this because we did Secret Santa last night, but it's less popular than the Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions, and it feels like according to like Mal users at least. So it feels like not that big of a show somehow, even though it's or at least nowadays to people, it's not a show people talk about that much. And I guess I get it. It's older, but feels like it should be.
I think for a show from 2006, it's pretty damn popular.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I do think it could use. It needs some like freshening up. You know how like Evangelion had like the rebuilds and stuff. Like getting more Haruhi content, I think would make people want to watch Haruhi more, and they should because Haruhi is really good.
I think it'd be a huge success in today's age if they like redid it. If it got like the Fruits Basket or something like that, I think it'd be a massive hit. Even if they just restart the whole thing over, I think it would still be a massive hit. Just because, kind of like what Pat said, not talked about in terms of Mal popularity, which we're basing it off of. It's popular, but I feel like a gazillion people still haven't seen it, and I think it could be a huge success in today's age.
Well, it's like a staple for like the old heads, but like nowadays, because again, I remember when I started watching anime too, it was like, oh, this is an older show, but it's really important. Like all the big YouTubers talk about it. Even like non-anime YouTubers have watched this that are older and older weebs, whatever you want to say. So like, how is it not translated to success now? Like in the same way that, I guess, Fruits Basket's a good example, but I don't know, even Evangelion's a bad example because that one transcends everything. But I don't know, some of the other retro shows too. Like it's just it confuses me because I don't know. I'm probably biased too because of how much I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
but feels like it should be bigger. Like,
I think it's because a lot of people remember Haruhi only because of the Endless Eight. It's like people remember like Evangelion and stuff like that for like. I mean, there's obviously like stuff that like about those shows that are like funny to remember about, like the yogurt scene and whatever. But it's like there's like a lot of people like speak about Evangelion because they genuinely like Evangelion, and I think like at least from what I've seen, like a lot of people who talk about Haruhi online only talk about it because they know the Endless Eight, and I think that's a large part of it. A large part of why.
Then those people need to watch the movie because the movie makes up for
Well,
everything that the Endless Eight does.
I mean, well, I did watch the movie, and I do agree. It's just that you are asking a lot for someone who just spent 2 hours of their time watching the same anime over and over again, and then you tell them, no, wait, it gets better after you watch this 3-hour movie.
They're anime fans; they'll get over it.
So like like from that perspective, you got to look at it. It's like One Piece fans say, oh, it gets good after 300 episodes. Like maybe not to that extent, but
All right,
like
you spitting.
it's that kind of idea. It's like, why should I have to watch this
I
to
think
enjoy it when I already suffered?
Yeah, for sure. I think another reason as well, and it actually Haruhi is like a major player in this, is that its source material is a light novel, and it's not the same as a manga in terms of sales driving more content, where it's just traditionally light novels do not sell as much as manga, but because we have Haruhi is the reason why we have light novels adapted into anime today, which is so fucking cool, I think. Like, if you're a fan of like 86, Pat, you can thank Haruhi for 86, because if it wasn't for the success of Haruhi, light novels may not be adapted as they were today. I think that's so cool. But yeah, I think
I'd go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say I think it being a light novel is a huge reason why it's like not the same as like a Fruits Basket where it gets like the reboot or something like that.
I think that's a good point, but I also think that not only Haruhi but like SAO it being really
Well,
popular. That was the
SAO owes it to Haruhi. Like
I feel like it
Haruhi
would've
was like
happened
the first
eventually,
major
though.
light
Haruhi
novel.
actually was.
Yeah, Haruhi was like the first light novel to get like a major player to make an anime adaptation. Where before, like light novels were done by like, I don't know, like in today's age, like what's a really
Random
bad, what's a
studio.
Doga Kobo, I don't know, something like that, where like you get like these mid-tier anime studios making these light novel adaptations. This was Kyoto Animation making a light novel adaptation. That's a huge deal, and it's I can't, like, it's a huge moment in like anime that a light novel gets something like this, and it's the reason why, and its success is the reason why we got so many different light novels as animes today. It sort of like kickstarted it, the whole thing. It's the same thing with like how Demon Slayer the movie is like how it's changing how animes are made, because they made so much money in the movies that they're pivoting to making movies as content instead of seasons. Like this was like that moment for light novels.
I mean, I definitely agree that like Haruhi probably made it like popular a lot sooner, but I think it would have happened eventually, even if Haruhi like didn't exist, because like
Okay, but
obviously
but
light
Haruhi
novels,
did it though. Like,
yeah, I mean, obviously,
why
but, like,
make a hypothetical out of when we have facts? Like,
but like you make it sound like if Haruhi wasn't a thing, we would have never gone light novel adaptation.
no, I'm
I
saying
think what
Haruhi
he's saying,
is the reason why we have it.
So like, if say it takes another 4 years, then like maybe like, because things ramp up,
Yeah.
right? So like you get different amounts or whatever. Like I think Pete's just saying we got to where we are because Haruhi happened, not we wouldn't get somewhere similar,
Correct.
otherwise.
I'm not saying it's
But
not.
I never agree.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen ever. I'm saying it did happen, and it's because of Haruhi.
Okay, that I agree. I felt like the way you made it sound, I thought it was like we would have never gotten SAO without Haruhi.
It's just like that's a bit of an exaggeration. It's like we've always had anime movies in the past, but because of how much money Demon Slayer made, it changed the entire sphere on how they produce these movies now going forward. Like that's what Haruhi was to the light novels into animes.
Who says if Haruhi never happens, SAO gets the amount of budget it got for its anime? which
it's
helped
the
other
butterfly
animes in
effect.
turn.
Well, I mean, like we don't know. It's like it's hard to like make assumptions on stuff like this. But at the end of the day, like we won't know what would have happened.
We should spend the rest of the episode trying to go back in time and play it forward.
Yes,
If Haruhi hadn't been released, that's what I think we should do.
I agree.
There were several different arcs in this show that we watched. What was everyone's favorite? Did anyone have a favorite of the different arcs that we saw? Mine was the murder mystery arc.
Same. Mostly because it was the thing I watched before the Endless Eight, so that was like the last time I enjoyed watching the show.
it's your fond memory.
Yeah,
Of,
that's like the one good memory I have of the show.
I'm a big Yuki fan because of the movie, but because I'm biased because of that, I really I am based, but also biased. The baseball episode where Yuki just turns on the baseball hack, and then Keon realizes it, and Keon had to go over to her like, "Hey, can you turn the hack off now? Like, we're good." I really enjoyed the baseball episode, and then Miles mentioned it before we were recording, where they went to go change in their cheerleader outfits, and Haruhi was going to put the ponytail into Mikuru's hair, and then saw Keon. And then she's like, "You know what? I'm not gonna put your hair in a ponytail." I thought that was really good too. I love the baseball episode.
So good. There were so many little moments in the show where if you're paying attention, you got rewarded. Like that ponytail thing, that was really funny. God, but there were like moments where like what's her name, robot girl. It's like,
Yuki.
oh yeah, Yuki. She's supposed to be the Kudere, but then it turns out she's and like oh the robot like character, but then she's actually a robot. Like literally pretty much a robot. It's really funny. like there's so many little nods and references to things that happen in the show or that are happen in anime, and so fucking good. The show is so good.
My favorite arc of the show was definitely the murder mystery, but at the end of the like when everything is revealed, when Haruhi is doing like the Ace Attorney type stuff where she's like knocking against the it's amazing because like I wasn't expecting it, and then she started doing it, and like it didn't have any like it was very like there was no sound pointing towards it, and then as soon as I noticed it, it was like I just gut laughed the whole time, getting into coughing fits. It was hilarious, and I loved that. I'm definitely gonna have to like once I finish Haruhi Suzumiya, I'm definitely gonna have to have another watch just so I can get even more references from it. Just because like there were times where I was looking away because it's starting to early and stuff like that. I'll This is gonna be a very very fun rewatch.
Favorite arc? That's tough, like for me, because it's like I the murder mystery. I think I enjoyed the murder mystery a little bit less than everything else. Although the line at the end too, it's elementary, dear Watson, or whatever. That was great. I love it when I love references are great. It's good. Referential humor is great. I think I enjoyed the show the most episodes like 3 to 6 or so though, where it was like the club was just starting and hijinks and things were just starting to be explained that she literally is a god, like I think I sent a message to Miles where I was like this is why this is why you call her a god, right? And then it turns out like no, this is literally why she is a god. like she thing and the idea that a character wills something into happening to me, I think it just like blew my mind that this is what the show is actually about, and that somehow we had multiple episodes of her being so dense and not realizing what's going on, and then also finding out that oh yeah, all these people that are in the show, they aren't real people. They're not NPCs, but they're a robot, an Esper, and a time traveler. And poor Kyon sitting there wondering, like, am I just a normal person? And we don't know if he is or not. We assume he is. He's been told he is, but you don't know what to think. It's great. I love the mystery aspect to it. What's everyone's favorite character, or who is everyone's
Definitely
favorite character?
Kyon.
You like Kyon the most?
Yeah, because he's the only normal person in the entire show.
That's fair.
You could
Completely
argue
fair.
he's not normal in that sense.
I mean, okay, I think anyone who makes a list of like the most attractive girls in their class is like at least a little bit not normal, but
she wasn't supposed to be involved. She's a trainee or like an intern is the way she describes herself, and it's like, yeah. So I was supposed to be like observing from a distance, and then I got sucked in, and because Haruhi wanted me to, I had to follow along. Like, so like little bits like that are so funny. But like Yuki also, and then she has the backup or whatever that Ryoko, I guess her name is, that eventually decides, no, I want to be a main character, and Yuki's just or I want to cause chaos. I want she uses the analogy, I think, of if you knew you could stop something from happening, would you do it or not? Like, like or she uses some like logic loop with Kyon, and Kyon's sitting there like, well, yeah, I kind of agree with you. So she's like, okay, so I should kill you, and he's like, well, wait a minute, I don't know, like, and it's uh, and then Yuki just comes in and is just like, uh, no, I'm the main character, snap, and then she vanishes from existence, and it so it's so funny, man. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. Like I can't wait to see what Kyon's little sister, like, because she's a supporting character, but she's very clearly, there's something there. There's got to be some way that she's involved deeper than just being a little or pardon me, no, I shouldn't use it. A little like juvenile kid, right? That's running around doing whatever she wants, which ends up helping the plot. That's in the murder mystery part, right? Like, there has to be something else there, and it's going to be great when it gets revealed because this author clearly thought out everything that's happened so far too. That's what I like too. That you can tell that there's so much thought into all of these characters, all the decisions they make, the arcs that they go through. There's a purpose to every single thing that happens. So I can't wait see like what happens next.
My favorite character was Kyon. I really liked his dynamic of him trying to be a little bit like going along with the ride and trying to be like a good person, but at the same time he's still like a high school kid. So like for example, like he kind of comes to the aid of Mikuru, but then he refuses to delete the pictures off of the computer. Like I really like that aspect of his character. It's like I think you should stop bullying her, but you did take these pictures and she is hot. Like I'll just keep it from myself, and that way nobody else can see it. Like, I like that. I think he thinks he's doing not the right thing, but not the wrong thing, and I like that dynamic a lot with him. And his voice actor, his English VA, killed it. He was so good. I love the dub, and I specifically love Keon's voice actor.
I think my favorite character is actually Haruhi. The reason why Haruhi is my favorite character is because there's no sense of like fakeness with her. Like there's a lot of like, we have to keep this away from people. Like when it comes to Haruhi, you know exactly like what she's thinking because she doesn't care. And even though like you could tell that she's trampling over other people, the way that it's done is hilarious to me. And even though I know that Keon would be a better person in real life, I can't, like, the charisma that Haruhi has, it like sucks me in. That's one of the main reasons.
I'm in the same boat with Kat. I'm just a big sucker for Haruhi. I think I legitimately believe, like with the Endless Eight, I would have dropped the show if Haruhi didn't exist. Like, I think her charisma, dragging people around, just makes the show so great. And then followed along by Kyon, just trying to be normal, even though he's not normal for going with her antics.
Yeah, I'm a Haruhi guy too. She's such a fun character. I think we all sort of have a little bit of Haruhi in us where we wish we could just make life more interesting by willing it. I sort of get her issues with the monotony of everyday life, and I think it's fun to see, I guess, the potential consequences to make us appreciate our monotony a little bit more.
Yeah.
Everyone's great. Every character is wonderful. I love Yuki. Yuki's moments in the movie are just truly phenomenal. But since we're talking about this first series, it's like definitely Haruhi. And I think overall it would probably still be Haruhi. So, but it's hard to decide.
Yeah. For me, I really like Mikuru because I think it's fun that uh she's supposed to be like the ditzy kind of lost,
It's a
like,
secret.
yeah, it's classified.
It's
It's classified.
classified. That's what she says. Yeah.
Yeah, it's classified. that's the thing. It's like, is she actually as ditzy as she comes off? And when we see her in her more adult form, she still acts a little ditzy, but like again, is that an act or is that really her? We don't know, and we won't know until you finish it. And so I enjoy both sides of that coin too, because like if she's just doing this for the bit and to help the story, or say help the story progress, but it's really just help keep Haruhi from ending the world, then I love it because that's a really smart character decision to make. But also, if she is just ditzy too, it's funny. Like it's a good bit that this person is involved. This person who has no qualification clearly to be that involved in something so serious as keeping the world alive. But it's an important, relevant plot point, like that she still gets it done. It's so great. And she's super cute too, like the kawaii effect, the moe that Haruhi talks about. It's funny that it's like, oh yeah, the main vessel for fan service is the moe character, and you got to have something moe. You have to. You need something moe. It's so great. But Haruhi is also like, I guess technically she's a sociopath, right? And I think that's so fun because
Yes.
she's awful, but it's so much fun to watch. I love it.
Okay, hypothetical. You guys are in the SOS Brigade. You are led by Haruhi Suzumiya. What crazy antics do you want to do with Haruhi Suzumiya, knowing she can sort of will things into existence?
Find me the will to live.
Real answer.
Real answer.
I want to go
Right,
last
that's never
because
gonna happen, even with
there's only one real answer to this.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess I'll go first. The fishing trip would be fun because then we'd catch like Cthulhu or something.
Oh,
like,
you're spitting.
and we'd actually catch him too. We wouldn't just go fishing and not catch something. So I don't know. That would be fun. I think.
wait, is the episode with the Loch Ness monster in this one?
No.
Okay.
Oh shit. No, it's not.
Okay. Well, you might get your wish, Pat. I'm just saying.
That would be pretty funny. If I accidentally predicted something that happens in Haruhi, that's pretty funny actually.
Are you?
It would also be fun to like write an anime or like to do a anime within an anime, I guess, moment, like see what she decides as a story, like how, like, oh, I want to write this kind of a story and see how they take that, make it something that's possible within the world. I think that would be really, really interesting too. Come on, guys, put on
Okay,
your creative hat.
I'll do mine if you guys need time to think about it. I would gaslight her into buying like lottery tickets, and because then I think the antics that she wants to do, plus
You're such a degenerate, dude.
having a shit ton of money, could just add to what else can we do? Because right now they're limited because they're high school kids. But what if they were high school kids with a bunch of money? You could do so much stuff.
Call one of those 37 numbers I hear every time I listen to a sports podcast. You're like, oh, what could I do if I was hanging out with God? Oh, I could buy some scratchies.
Yeah, no, the lottery. Don't buy scratches. What are you, an idiot? Come on.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you need help as a gambling addict like Pete does. So.
If you're in Indiana, call whatever.
So
1-800 with it.
Wait, are you saying my idea is bad though? Because that'd be super cool.
It's like lame.
No, you're lame.
It's lame.
You're lame.
Pat was like, maybe we can catch Cthulhu, and you're like, let's buy lottery.
We get Ferraris and stuff and do crazy shit. I think that'd be wild.
She fights a giant cricket. Do something fun, Pete. Galaxy, you have an idea.
Yeah, tax evasion. That's what we're going to fight.
Tax evasion.
It's don't pay
a fun
taxes.
idea, I think, even though I don't play this personally myself, is a D&D session with Haruhi where she just believes in all of the species just showing up and doing whatever.
That's a good answer.
Not as good as mine, but that was pretty good.
Look at that. Take notes. That's awesome. That is an awesome idea.
So what I would do is I would just start like trying to research how to like make bigger and better like technological stuff and just trying to get Haruhi to believe that it would work, just using like big words and stuff like that. Because she really didn't understand anything about the computer, and just having her believe that it'll work and somehow making it work, like eventually just having a a lizard, a giant lizard with a monitor in the back, and just mounting it on a wall. And for some reason, it just works. It doesn't use any power. We don't need any internet access. It just works. That's what I would do.
That's wild.
Okay, so we have perpetual motion, an actual like real life D&D session,
Oh.
fishing for Cthulhu, and then buying a lottery ticket.
Gaslighting her into buying lottery tickets. You gotta remember the gaslighting. That's very important.
I
Should I
cannot-
give like a real answer or just like mine's fine?
I see. You know what? I would be impressed if you could come up with an answer that was worse than Pete's.
Okay. Here's what we do. Okay, we're gonna. How should I... So like you know how like if like they always say in the show that like there's a chance that something can go wrong and Haruhi is just gonna like end the world, right?
Yes.
So I want to take over and find out like where that's gonna happen. You know, I want to like really test the limits of like how much I can do to make her suffer before she just ends the world.
Oh my god!
Jesus,
Wow,
Johnny.
you are a psychopath.
Hey, I never said. Well, I
that
was
wasn't
gonna do.
even the question. You just want to torture Haruhi.
It's a better
Not
answer. than Pete.
torture.
It's
I was gonna say I like.
It was a
It's
better
just
answer
You
than
said
mine.
make her suffer. That is basically torture.
That is
Not
torture.
physically,
It-
mentally.
That's
oh,
still torture.
yeah, it's fine then. Yeah,
He wants to mind break Haruhi.
yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
exactly.
What I
Oh
heard.
god.
The guy
just-
the guy that likes NTR is looking at me funny, so I don't know.
Very
Put it on a
different.
shirt, Johnny.
Very
Just put-
different.
Put it on a shirt, Johnny. That's all.
Yeah,
All right,
Uh,
Miles,
but
what's your?
I would
your-
mentally torture Haruhi.
I could tell you guys didn't pay attention to the show because the only correct answer is whatever the fuck Haruhi wants to do. That's the answer because otherwise it doesn't work and the world falls apart. You have to do what Haruhi wants to do. You cannot control her. So
You can kind of
Um,
control her. Kion does have some weight in like what Haruhi thinks and does.
yeah, that's true. But I think I would definitely just want to be along for the ride. I would want to see what happens. Because I think that's part of the fun of hanging out with someone like Haruhi is just being at their whim, you know? Like if they want to play a game of baseball, it looks like you're doing that, and if we don't have enough people, like that's that. Galaxy, it is a boring answer, but it's the only technically correct answer that doesn't involve in the destruction of the world. Which
I
is
can convince her to play D&D. I'll get Kyo on my side.
I,
It'll work.
You
yeah, I
wanna go
guess what
fishing?
you need to do is convince Kyon to do whatever, and then have Kyon convince Haruhi to do it.
There you go. In
Ugh.
my scenario, I was a self-insert Kion.
Keon with a 5 head.
A lot of money,
And
And a lot of money, yeah.
apparently.
Remember how we
because
said we
they
weren't going to be negative to each other on the podcast, Cat?
hey,
Was
Cat, be nice to Pete in his
Yeah.
5 head.
I'm sick.
Um,
Come on.
Ow.
Also, Haruhi
Dude,
is
I've got strep.
underage and can't buy lottery tickets. So that's
So Pete's answer is even
She
worse
could
now.
convince the old man at the apartment complex to buy her
Okay.
lottery tickets.
Yeah, that's illegal too.
Yeah, who cares? It's fun.
He doesn't
Haruhi
care
does
about the
illegal
law,
shit
boys.
all the time. That's the point. It's fun. Haruhi is fun.
those crickets are endangered.
Committing crimes is fun.
Committing crimes is so much fun.
Committing crimes is fun.
Okay.
Can't argue it.
Let's not
Yo,
incriminate
the statutes
ourselves
of
in this
limitations
podcast.
are up on my crimes, so I can talk about them all day. I'm not going to,
Oh.
but I
But you
can.
I
could.
was gonna say, go
Hey,
ahead.
hey
Pete.
Pete, what happened that night in 2017?
You ever seen the I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Is that about you?
Nothing like
No.
that.
Okay.
Nothing happened in this place in 1982.
Yeah, don't go
Okay.
dig a grave at location 36 degrees north. Yeah.
So, does anyone else have topics they would want to do, or should we do our final thoughts and such?
Let's do it. All right, so Miles, why don't you start us off? Give us your score on top of, or probably after your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, I love Haruhi Suzumiya. It was so fun to watch. I'll probably, it's one of those shows that I'll just rewatch every once in a while. I plan on reading the light novels and such. It just, it's so great. It's so well written. The characters are wonderful. The whole package is great too. I do get why some people don't like the Endless Eight, but like frankly, you can just skip like 5 episodes. Like it's fine. Like a lot of people who complain about it didn't watch it all, so like, whatever. Season one is fantastic. It only gets better from now on. So if you watch this with us and you enjoyed it, watch season two. It's fantastic. I have this at a 10. It's like in my top 10 series of all times. I love this show. I think it's wonderful.
There you go. All right, Kat, what about you?
This show was a treat to watch. I enjoyed every episode that I watched. There was so much to have fun with. Like I said earlier, the animation still holds up today, and we didn't talk about the ED that much, but the ED, like the dance in the ED, is great.
Iconic.
Yeah, and I just love this show. I'm actually kind of mad that I slept on it for so long. Um, it's it's the main reason why I'm not gonna renom it because I want to watch it myself. So yeah, my final score for Haruhi Suzumiya is I was gonna say like a high 9. I'm probably gonna bump it up to a 10 now. So yeah.
2 10s right off the bat. Wow, off to a good start for Haruhi. All right, Johnny, bring it back down to earth for
Yeah,
us, please.
very high scores so far, but we're gonna hit him with a big dose of reality because Haruhi has brainwashed them into thinking that aliens and robots are real. So yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can here, just giving off just like given how bad of a feeling like the Endless Eight left me, but in all honesty, the first season of Haruhi is fine. Like it's a good show. I like I do like the show as much as like I just don't like her. I think I'm gonna give it a 7. Like it's good, but it's not. I don't think it deserves a 10 out of 10 for me, especially not after what it did to me. So yeah,
You say that like the show touched you in a way that you didn't like.
yeah, I did. It touched my mind in a way that I'll never recover from.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on from that bad joke. Pete, what have you got?
Yeah, I don't think I give it a 10 either, just because I think the movie is a 10, and this is nowhere near the level of the movie. However, this show was a whole bunch of fun. I loved my rewatch. I loved the dub. Cast was great. It was just an enjoyable time. I'm gonna give this like a really solid 8 out of 10.
All right, Pete gives it an 8, and then Galaxy.
I feel like if I was a part of the rewatch, I would probably be higher on it since I think season one is so great and all. But I'll give it an 8. It's my favorite 8 I have on of all the anime I've ever watched. Just really good show.
An 8 out of 10 for Preston. All right. And yeah, Kat touched on it. The ED is great. The music in the show in general is great. I like the background music as well. Really liked it a lot. Uh, Animation wise, yeah, we really didn't talk about the art in it either. It's pretty good. Her eyes throw me off sometimes in random scenes, especially when she's like staring straight at the screen. But I think that that's more just like a 2000s thing rather than a mistake, so to speak. It's just the style that it is. Um, I cannot wait to watch more of the show. I think the only thing holding me back from giving it a 10 is that it's not done, and that's not fair to the show. But you know what I mean? Like I want to see more. I like it doesn't feel like a complete story in the capacity that we've watched it yet. So I think I'm gonna give it a 9. I was somewhere stuck between an 8 and a 9, but I think yeah, I'm pretty confident that it's a 9. This show is really, really, really good and deserves all of the praise that it gets. And uh, but I can definitely see why people don't latch onto it as much either. Because like I feel like if I showed this to like my parents, they wouldn't get it. They would or they wouldn't look for that next layer of depth and wouldn't enjoy it as much as I do because I like that. I like peeling back the layers of the onion, you know. So yeah, let's that averages out our scores total to an 8.66 repeating, so an 8.67 overall for Haruhi. That's not too bad. Uh I think that is, let's see, the Mal
It's
is a
7.
7.83, which seems criminally low, honestly. I think I'm surprised that it's below an 8 on Mal. But
You should see season 2 score.
Yeah.
oh, I'm sure it's been like not review bombed, but very, very low too. Yeah, that's shocking. I really am surprised that this is below an 8. I wonder uh where that came from. But yeah, all right. So I guess that wraps up our discussion of Haruhi. Why don't we start talking about what we're nominating for Watch Club? On these are nominations for the February 6th episode or meeting that we'll have. So yeah, let's start talking about our nominations.
And before we talk about our nominations, we're going to talk about which show won and what we
Oh
will be
yeah,
watching
I forgot about that.
next time. It's a minor detail.
Hmm.
Um, so in third place, earning its 6th legacy point, we have Link Click.
Let's go.
In second place, we have Liz and the Bluebird. And in first place, we will be watching and somehow discussing the 40-minute long movie Summer Ghost. So that's next. I am very excited to watch that. But I am a little curious about watching what is essentially 2 episodes of
We
anime.
we've done movies that are like an hour long before too. I think, or just over an hour long. So
Have
I
we?
think we'll figure it out. I
Just
think
over an
so.
hour is double the length
Ghost
of
in the Shell was
but
like an
yes.
hour.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm curious. We can talk
I'm
about
excited to
hypotheticals.
watch it. And if
Yeah.
not, it's a short episode. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. God forbid we have some time off. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah. That. Thank you, Miles, for correcting me. I can't believe I skipped over that step. That's weird, especially because I won. Yay! You know that's fun. Summer Ghost wins. All right. Let's get into our nominations. Miles, what are you nominating?
Liz of the Bluebird has seemed to be gaining some momentum. 2 second place finishes in a row, so we will put it up there. Liz and the Bluebird.
Liz and the Bluebird. Already. Kat, what about you?
From one visual novel to another, this one actually rated higher than Haruhi
Light
Suzumiya,
novel?
and one
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. From so
From one source material to another.
to another. This one rated higher than Haruhi Suzumiya, and one that I don't think any of us have watched because we don't have it on our mouse. I am going to nominate Katana Gatari.
Can we
So
do
the
that
reason
one?
the reason we can't
Yeah,
do
we tried to.
Monogatari is because each episode is an hour long. Cat. I have already tried to
Wow.
do this, and
Oh.
it was pointed out that each episode was an hour long, and I was like, "Oops, my B."
Oh.
You do that for the 2
So
core,
we'll-
though.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to you to come up with
Okay.
another one. In the meantime, Johnny, why don't you go?
All right, so I think you were all there last night when I was talking about the absolute legendary show that was Eden of the East, which has, I say this without exaggerating, probably the craziest plot I have ever seen in anime history. It's like I think it'll be a great episode. So I'm gonna nominate Eden of the East.
It would be fun to talk about. It sounds like because that was a very very wild review that you
I
gave
didn't
last night.
believe anything you said last
Well,
night.
let's just say it is the only show I've seen where cops in America profile someone based on the size of their dick.
It's impressive. I that's I'm shocked personally that that's the only show that you've seen that happen in. Because that seems like something that would happen in a lot of TV shows made
Dude,
in
when you get
Japan.
pulled over by the cops in America, do they just tell you to pull down your pants?
They do. They say spread them.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do.
Yeah, maybe I should go to America.
Okay. Preston, what about you?
There's been this show I've been trying to get people to watch a lot lately. It's a popular show. It has an 8.76 on Mao. It came out in 2021 and it's a supernatural drama. Sorry, Pete, I'm going to nominate Link Click.
Oh wow!
What?
That's an interesting nomination.
You
I
can't-
Good
so
job. Yep.
He has to go find another show now.
I'm
Yeah,
legit.
so-
If it wins, I'm legit quitting the podcast. It's over.
Oh my god!
You guys heard it here first. Everybody vote for
Yeah.
Link Click.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Oh my god!
yeah. Well, now
It's
it's so that's the thing. Now, does Pete vote for it or not? I bet he doesn't want to anymore now because then he has to quit his
What's
own
another 2
podcast.
weeks? I can wait another 2 weeks.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right, Cap. Do you have another one yet?
Yeah. I've got another show where main character has to take care of another, has to ring in another female character. Madaka Box.
Madoka Box.
Sure. All right. I've literally never heard of that.
Modica
So.
box.
Madaka. Whatever. Okay.
Words.
The English language escaping multiple members of this podcast tonight. Apparently.
I'm
Pete,
from
what
the
about
South.
you?
Okay, I don't know how to pronounce shit.
Fair enough. Pete, what have you got for us now that Link Click has been clutch or stolen?
Can I
from
just
your
nominate?
clutches?
Can I also nominate Link Click?
Yes,
No.
but I'll count the votes as two separate things.
That's a good. Okay. We were actually talking about it before the other Chinese anime that I want to nominate after Link Click wins. I'll nominate The King's Avatar.
Okay, you're gonna split the China vote.
Yeah, the big China vote that we get every week. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. And since I won, can't do Summer Ghost again. So I think what I'll do instead is another movie that I am very interested in watching, and that is the first Princess Principal movie, because that's a throwback to one of our first episodes of the pod or of the anime club, and I don't know. I think it would be really fun to get to continue the story because the third movie's in production now or something like
Mhm.
that.
Yes.
That's exciting. So yeah, let's catch up. Let's start the process of catching up. Maybe we can do the first two movies, because the second movie is out. I think, right? Or is the third? Is the second movie streamable yet? I actually
It is not.
Not anywhere legally. It will be in
Gotcha.
like April.
in April. Okay, so yeah, so let's just do the first movie for now. But yeah, all right. That's our watch club for January 9th. So thank everyone for joining, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Pete, take it away.
Yeah, and if you made it this far and you want to support us, the best way to do so: like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. If Link Click wins, I'm quitting the podcast. You can quote that for sure. Going into next week, we are beginning our Anime of the Year celebration. So the nominations will be coming out. I'll be live streaming the nominations, and then an episode will be coming out. If you vote on it, $1 gets donated to a local library in Minneapolis, up to $250. So that's gonna be really cool. So go out there and vote if you are a seasonal watcher. Otherwise, if you're here for Watch Club in 2 weeks, you can join us for Summer Ghost. Thanks, and we will see you next time.